Mike Bloomberg.
Mike Bloomberg.
Michael Bloomberg.
One of the great dudes out there, former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
The only thing that you can control that influences success in life is how hard you work, how honest you are, and how well you deal with others. The one thing, I'm not smarter than anybody else, but I can outwork you. And my key to success for you or for anybody else is make sure you're the first one in there every day and the last one to leave. Mm-hmm. Don't ever take a lunch break or go to the bathroom. You keep working. You never know when that opportunity is going to come along. And at Solomon Brothers, the managing partner of the company, Bill Solomon, was the second person in. I was the only other one in the big trading room. So if he needed to borrow a match, in those days people smoked cigars, and if he wanted to ask something about a newspaper or a stock, he came over, and so we became buddies. I would never have gotten to talk to the managing partner of a big company on a first-name basis if it wasn't for the fact that the two of us are there. Billy, I'm getting coffee. Would you like some? And I can bring that. And at the end of the day, the number two guy, John Goodfriend, he was the last one to leave, except for me. And we'd share a cab going uptown or take the subway train going uptown together. And, every opportunity I ever had, it was, I think, a lot of them was because I was there at the time. And that's the one thing you can control. You can't control your luck, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. You can't control that you're the smartest guy. There'll always be somebody smarter. But if you're there, then you absorb things, you put things together in ways that if you didn't have all that experience, it's like skiing. I've said reading a book on skiing doesn't teach you how to ski.
Yeah.
You got to go and you got to ski and get lots of miles under your skis. And incidentally, if you don't fall, you're not skiing hard enough and you're not learning anything. So if your career has ups and downs, I got fired, didn't turn out so bad. But, you can start a little business and maybe it doesn't work. And after a while, you got to be smart enough to say, hey, I tried it. Don't let your ego get in the way. I can't keep doing this. I've got to earn a living. But, a year from now, I'm going to come up with a better idea and then I'll go back and do it again. And have that drive to look at the bright side. And with the exception of, there's never been a day that I haven't looked forward to going into work. Even the days I knew I was going to get beaten up, even the day I knew I was going to get fired. I'd never been fired before. I wonder what it's like. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go find out.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back. I find it fascinating. People spend, and we're doing this in this country, we're spending all our time trying to blame people and figure out why we got to where we are now, rather than focusing on how you get out of where we are now and make it better. And successful people look to the future, and unsuccessful people look to the back, look behind them. Number one, more people do more stupid things to avoid taxes than anything else that any other determinant, any other thing that they look at. And that's not just true in inheritance, day in and day out. April 15th should be a pleasant day for everybody. Boy, I hope next year that my tax bill on April 15th is bigger than my tax bill last April 15th. Can't understand people that don't want to pay more taxes. Says you're making more. Don't worry about the taxes. Do what's right and let Uncle Sam or the state or city governments get whatever they have to get. That's the way we have these services we all want and need, and you shouldn't begrudge anybody. Second is, I think if you're very wealthy, the great danger is to give your kids too much. If you just read the papers of these families that are torn apart by siblings fighting with each other, or siblings or children of wealthy people who got so much money they lost the desire to work hard. They started thinking of themselves as better than others and lost all their friends that don't contribute to society. You really you can hurt your kids if you got a lot of money much easier than, much more than you can help them. And lastly, I can't think of what else you can do with your money if you're reasonably wealthy that would give you as much pleasure as philanthropic kinds of things. You can make a better life for people if you want to give to museums. You can educate the next generation of kids, the next generation of people who your family, your descendants are going to have to depend on, so it's a very selfish thing. You can give some money to try to cure diseases or prevent diseases. There's lots of things that you can do, and all of them are more satisfying than having another steak, in all fairness. I just don't have anything in common with people that sit there and say, oh my God, it was terrible, it was terrible. It's water over the dam, under the bridge. Get on with it and start another business the next day or another career. And be honest, look in a mirror and say, why didn't it work out? Well, it wasn't the skill set, or it wasn't, I didn't have the temperament for it, or I was in the wrong place, wrong time. Maybe I can afford to do it again, maybe I can't. But people aren't honest with themselves. What I've always done is I've taken a yellow pad, I draw a line down the middle, write out the pros on one side, the cons on another, in a sense that if I let you see it, you wouldn't laugh at me. And then when I get done, I just rip it up and throw it away, because I've worked out in my mind what is real and what isn't, and what I can present to people and what I can't. The most exciting time was day one, when I was the only person in the company. The second was day two, when there were four of us. And being an entrepreneur is great. It's a challenge and it's exciting. But if you get a chance to go and to learn about the real world with a great firm, you should do that. Doesn't matter how much you get paid. It doesn't matter what your title is. I went to Salomon rather than Goldman, who had both offered me a job. Goldman offered me a job at $14,000 a year, which was a lot of money in those days. Salomon offered me a job at $9,000. I sat down with the number two guy in the company, John Goodfriend, and I said, I'd like to come to work here. And he said, why? I said, well, because Goldman told me what they wanted me to do, and when I asked your sales manager who was doing the hiring, what would I do at Salomon, he said, how the hell would we know? We don't even know who you are. You know, we're just hiring you off a piece of paper or an interview, and who knows what our needs are going to be down the road, and who knows what your skill sets are. You have to find out in the real world. And that made so much more sense to me than Goldman. The trouble was Salomon was offering me $9,000, Goldman $14,000. $9,000, I had a budget of $120 for rent and $5 for food each day, and I showed it to Goodfriend. I said, I just can't come. He said, how much do you need? And I said, I didn't want to be piggy, so I said, $11,500. And he said, fine. $9,000 salary, $2,500 loan. He got up and he walked out of the room. And I didn't know what to do, so I showed up June 1st or whatever it was. Yeah. And my first bonus 6 months or 4 months later was $500 forgiveness for the loan, and the next year it was a $2,000 forgiveness of loan. I have the document at home with him signing both. And it was the smartest decision I made, because Salomon gave me a chance to do lots of different things. And I said at a memorial service for Billy Solomon, and no offense to Harvard Business School, we both went, but I learned more from Billy Solomon and John Goodfriend about management in the years I was there than I did the 2 years at Harvard Business School. I watched how people really took care of others and dealt with problems and delegated work out, and it was a great education. And then when I became an entrepreneur, was I more ready or less ready? I don't know. You never know. But a lot of the entrepreneurs, I will say, when I see them, they start out and you say, what are you doing? Well, we're building an app to open and close your garage door from 3,000 miles away. And I think, oh, okay, that's nice, but you know, it's never going to work, or it'll work, but it's never going to be sold. And so don't rush into being an entrepreneur. See what the opportunities out there, and if that's the chance you have, do it. If it's not, do something else. I think, number one, my family. I've got 2 teenage daughters I'm very proud of. Number 2, my reputation. I would like that people not only think that I'm a good father, but my honesty and philanthropic interests are the things that I'm the most proud of. Or being a good manager. It's very heady stuff to have built a company where you have 4,000 people and there's families involved with every one of them. So, you know, God knows how many people are really dependent on my business judgment being right. That's a very heady thing. Recognition and fame is not so bad. You should try it. You have it, and when you walk down the street and people say, in your case, hey, I saw your show, it was great. Well, in my case, they stop you and say, hey, my niece or nephew works for your company, and I just want you to know they think it's the most wonderful place in the world to work, or we're a customer of Bloomberg, and I want you to know we can't do our business without you. Those things really are give you a lot of pleasure. Don't worry about anybody else. What we've got to do is keep making our products better. You cannot go and buy all your competitors. You can't go and merge with all your competitors. You can't keep redesigning your system to focus on some press release, or maybe if they ever have a real product. You're not going to own the world. There's going to be room for lots of things. The mistake you make is letting other people drive you in a direction you don't want to go. And so, you know, do I wish competitors well? No. But they're going to be there. You'd be pretty sick if you did. You know, we have a business, and we have 16,000 employees, and they want to have jobs, and all of our profits go to philanthropy, and there's a lot of good I think we can do in the world. But just can't let other people, you can't every time react to what everybody else does. You'd be stupid not to read about it and think about it, but then get back. I've always believed, had confidence in what we can do internally.
The advice I can give to all of you is, if you have a dream, you just got to go for it. Now, there's a point at which you have to say, enough, it's not working, let's go on to the next thing. But I'd stretch it out before I got to that point, because a lot of times, just before you turn that last corner is the time that you really get depressed. And just think of what would happen if you hadn't gone around that corner. Many of you will tell me that, will tell you that you're crazy. You have to be a little crazy to invest the amount of time and energy that it takes to start a new business. You have to put in long hours and give weekends up, no more time with the family. You have to take financial risks. But building something from the ground up really is one of the most rewarding things that you can ever do. And every day it's an opportunity to experiment, and every day it's an opportunity to try new things. And every day all of you are helping to build a strong future for your company, but even more important, for this city, this state, and this country, and the world.